Luffy, the main character, you already know. He set out sail to the oceans to have an adventure, to find the One Piece to be king of the pirates. On his adventures, he ends up getting a crew, becoming friends with his crew, and they end up going on adventures together. But the crazy thing is that the One Piece world is massive, and it has a whole bunch of islands, and throughout his many adventures, actually one of the first people Luffy met when he decided to set sail. Matter of fact, he even met this particular character I'm about to say in a couple seconds before he even had his first official ship going merry. It's this dorpy, wimpy type guy known as Koby. Koby, because this is a world of pirates and the government and marines and stuff, Koby was actually forced to work with or for this pirate known as Alvida. Like one could say as like a slave, like a chore boy, one could say. This is back before Koby could actually fight, so he kind of was scared of her and stuff because she was stronger than him. It's not until Koby started talking with Luffy, hearing about Luffy's dreams, and kind of got inspired. Not to mention, he's seen firsthand of Luffy bullying Alvida, showing how strong Luffy was. Seeing Luffy do these type of things, weirdly enough, gave Koby an epiphany, one could say. Of like, hey, I don't have to be a helpless wimp. I can be strong too. This also let him know that not all pirates are bad because he met two sets of pirates. One like Alvida, who's a butthole, and then the other like Luffy, who's cool. So he said, let me join the Marines. At the lowest possible rank, he even said he would do it just so he can get in the Marines. The Marines were skeptical on letting him join, but Luffy did him a favor because Luffy's a pirate, started beating on him so the Marines can see it in their face to understand that he's not affiliated with them to help Koby actually be able to join the Marines. It's funny how Luffy's a pirate and he's cool with Koby and did him a favor. Koby knew it, that he did it for him. So let you know that pirates and Marines can be cool, be cool in a low-key type of way though. Matter of fact, Koby even says if it wasn't for him, he probably would still be doing chores in Alvida's ship and sucking up to her. Like, he actually joined the Marines, but he was in a rank so low that he was not even on this list that I have made out for you guys right here in this particular scan. Koby's one of those characters that's actually inspiring me because we saw how wimpy and dorky he was, but in the show, we've actually seen him make astronomical progress when it comes to being a Marine and gaining strength physically, like get strength, speed, and everything, like becoming a strong fighter. Because, you know, in One Piece, it's one of those animes, you can not have no superpowers and achieve superhuman qualities just from working out and stuff and training. Like, look how dorky he looks here, being a chore boy and stuff, but he eventually had like a crazy growth spurt, got taller, and looked more bad-a, if that makes sense. Even getting a scar to look more battle-hardened and more masculine. So it doesn't take rocket science to know, yeah, he does get strong as time goes by. He works extremely hard to where he has like his basically own side adventures other than the main characters. You can actually read about in the manga. A big part of their adventures, there was just literal chore boys. But Koby was not folding and he would not give up on his craft, even if it's chores. But this is where he had a fateful encounter with Garp at a higher rank because his superior was a captain at first. Garp is a higher rank being, Luffy's grandfather, you know. Very strong being in the Navy. Garp is a rank below of the highest rank in the Navy. I have him this high up because he's an admiral level being, even though he's down here with official rank, this is a high rank regardless. So naturally, it's this part where his friend got captured and the Navy was just going to blast both of them. You know, his chore boy comrade, Himepo, Koby tried to pull out guns on him. Of course, it didn't work. Of course, got his junk sliced up. He would eventually return. That's when a top tier ranking Marine said, I'm going to take them under my wing. So this is part of the reason why Koby went through such a drastic change in strength and rank. In the world of One Piece, your rank, when it comes to how strong you are as a fighter, is heavily linked to how hard you rank as a Marine. So the fact that Garp's a vice admiral, that just gives you a basic understanding of how strong of a person that's about to train Koby. Garp is the same being that can throw 1,000-ton or 100,000-ton cannonballs that are bigger than ships. And in his younger days, this is the same being that could pulverize mountains into nothingness with his bare fist. So after Garp took them under his wing, this is where you start seeing the power level increase, get crazy. Via like physical training, hard work, and dedication. They even highlight train. They even battle each other to get better in combat, bruising themselves up, training every day. Even stated down here, it also shows he's getting training in melee combat, holding a blade, them getting handled by the guy that we always see hanging out with Garp, who's probably ridiculously strong because we seen him do this to Koby a couple seconds ago, so we know he's strong. And thanks to a lot of off-screen training, he eventually starts rising up the ranks. So he had this crazy glow up in less than a year, y'all. There was these strong fighters in One Piece, can do a lot of different weird abilities just from raw superhuman training. You got an idea of his superhuman capabilities here when he kicked Luffy here. You know, Luffy, the main character that inspired him in the first place. Luffy didn't know this was him. Of his fighting techniques he learned, known as Saru. This is from the CP9 organization that looks similar to what Luffy and him just got done fighting, Speed. So it's pretty much showing that Koby has went from being a chore boy, miserable weakling to a being that can move faster than I can see in less than a year's time span. But Luffy was still able to react to him eventually though. But you got to remember, it really doesn't make sense for him to be able to catch up with Luffy's strength this fast in less than a year. Even though this is crazy progress, but Luffy's been fighting and training for years, though. Well, one could say this is Koby's first year of training. Even though they've been training with Garp, they're still no match. They even make jokes of his growth spurt, implying his power increased. The former crybaby Koby. When it comes to the rankings, he's officially a petty officer at this moment in time. Confirmed here, petty officer. I mean, it's certainly more impressive than the Koby that would push barrels back in the day that couldn't really lift superhuman stuff or heavy stuff and was pretty much weaker than everybody, even though we did see him punch Luffy here, which didn't do no damage, of course, because Luffy's rubbery. A good way to understand Koby's strength is his trainer. You know, Garp used to do some insane training. Like, they used to use battleships as punching bags, and like Koby used to do this to get his fists and stuff stronger to increase his strength. Even more, Koby would do stuff like this. And the way these flashback images look, it looks like this is before he got like real strong looking. Imagine doing this for 2 years after this. But this is not all he would rank up. So yeah, Koby does lack screen time, but he does end up getting another rank up. I mean, if you can accomplish all of that in less than a year, imagine 2 years going by. Imagine how much stronger he would get. Because him fighting him in less than a year's time frame is just not going to cut it. Luffy still one-shots him. It's natural that his buddy Luffy changed after 2 years as well, so Luffy has gotten a lot stronger too. I mean, this little weight that's on him on this chain can help you get an idea of Koby's strength. He's able to move around with such weight on him. It lets you know he has superhuman attributes for sure when it comes to physicals. Thanks to Garp, yeah, that training. Now, this is where it gets cool. Koby ends up unlocking this ability known as Haki. This is like this universe's version of chakra, of ki, like on Dragon Ball Z. It's one of the things that help significantly amplify characters' hits, strikes, helps them get super senses. Like in this occasion, it's literally confirmed Koby can feel the presence of people around him too strongly. It's overwhelming. It's to this ability known as Haki. It's an ability that can only be brought out usually by lengthy periods of training. It's usually an ability all Marines of Vice Admiral class and above usually have. So it lets you know Koby's making some progress really fast. I mean, look how high Vice Admiral rank is, and beings of this rank or higher all have it. So it lets you know that he's pretty good to be able to awaken such a thing at a petty officer level at the moment when he was a petty officer. But anyways, after 2 years, Koby ranks up even further. He ends up becoming a captain rank. Over the time, it seems like Koby's observation haki gets a lot better because other beings that have observation haki or super senses that can sense things around them or sense things before they happen said he couldn't sense certain things that Koby could, letting you know that Koby makes fast progress. Not bad for somebody that just out of the blue stated he wanted to become a Marine Admiral. That's his dream, to be at the top of the food chain of the Marines when it comes to the greatest fighters. He's making pretty good headway, considering that Admirals are at the top of the food chain when it comes to military fighters. I mean, it's confirmed in One Piece that, yeah, to become a higher rank, you have to be one of the best fighters. Koby has to strive towards this. Doing pretty good. Are we just going to ignore how Koby basically walked down Tashigi in strength? Because they're like in the same rank now. I mean, during this time period, Koby was too weak to defend himself against Alvito, while Tashigi was still strong enough to mess up these two men by herself to show her combat abilities. So she was clearly stronger than Koby right here, but Koby walked her down, especially after the time skip to the point where they're literally in the same rank as captain. That's wild. Maybe Koby's getting stronger because he's a man. And, you know, there's this theme in One Piece, if you're born a man, you have an advantage. It's kind of realistic to real life, too, when it comes to physicals, but, you know, that's a whole nother debate. I find it funny that these two were chore boys together, right? When Koby was still a wimp. But it's a good assumption to assume that Koby worked harder than him. Because even though they trained together and things like that, Koby definitely ranked up a lot faster. Like how he's still a lieutenant commander, but Koby ends up being 2 ranks higher than him, being a captain up there with Tashigi. Interesting, right? It shows that Helmeppo is improving, but at a slower rate than Koby. You see, they even say his rank right here. Part of the reason why Koby's power or strength increased so much faster is because not only did he have training from one of the strongest beings in the entire One Piece universe, but he himself put himself at higher standards of training. Talking about working 10 times harder isn't enough because he has no aptitude for combat. He has to put in 200 times more effort instead of 10 times more effort. 10 times more effort is still a lot more effort than normal. He said 200 times more effort, which is why he's increasing so crazy. After Garp's special training regime, he's sneaking to work out even more. He never misses days. He messes himself up. He spends his whole night hitting one of the battleship bags. Like, yeah, Garp used to do crazy stuff like using battleships as punching bags. That's what he used to train admirals and stuff. Don't ask. Koby did this until his skin peeled and bled. This is some narrative on why Koby's getting so strong so fast. Thanks to Koby getting stronger over time, he can coat his body in armor like Haki. The thing I've already brought up in the video about him having super senses, he can use this ability to pretty much harden his hands to make his strikes a lot harder. They call it ornament Haki. Blah, blah, blah. It's the power that lies in everybody. You just have to learn how to use it. That's why you see characters in the show have their arms or weapons go black. That's the animator's way of showing you that they're using Haki, invisible armor. I mean, when it comes to strength, I know this is not canon. This is a filler technically, but I thought this would be cool to show in his video. Why not? He can definitely do this in canon. These large BSs that were falling and civilians were in danger. You see how small humans look? In comparison to this BS, they're running for their life in danger. Koby is shown fast enough to be able to move like a blur, shows speed in general, thanks to CP9 technique. He was able to punch or strike with enough force to actually break this big thing apart despite the size difference. Yes, our boy Koby has came a long way. Even shown physically strong enough to lift up big debris like this. Super strength Koby has. Matter of fact, Captain Koby has gotten so strong, he can do another thing similar to CP9, how they can make blades out of their kicks, rain kick technique. It's like make your legs or limbs like a sword. Koby, we've seen chop up big old stuff like this. You get an idea of his physical capabilities here. Koby's actually pretty fast underwater, being a capable swimmer. Like, for example, this torpedo was heading upward. While underwater, he was fast enough, probably thanks to stuff like skywalk and, other CP9 light techniques from the government. He was able to catch up to this torpedo and detonate it to pretty much protect everybody, letting you know how strong he is. I would even argue without even counting time skip stuff, he could still kick a house or launch a house with his strikes if he wanted to because of his superhuman qualities. I would even go as far as saying building destruction is fair for Koby at this point. Even when he was in the Pirate Empress's presence, when everybody was getting petrified, even beings that know Haki, like even a Vice Admiral, we know for a fact all Vice Admirals can use Haki, and he still got turned into stone. Helmeppo turned into stone. Notice how all these beings turned into stone, but Koby. Koby has definitely been doing some things off screen because apparently he acquired the name of Captain Koby, the hero of the Rocky Port incident. So Koby's been getting stuff done in the background by off scenes to gain his reputation higher. And of course, I find it interesting that his name is Hero, just like how they call Garp the hero of the Marine. You know what I'm saying? And that's his teacher. You see, in the One Piece world, you got pirates, they have bounties. Bounties usually show how much of a threat a character is, right? Like, that's how the Marines usually would do it. There's a couple factors that go into it, not just combat abilities, but other things, but combat ability is a big part of it. Like, you know how pirates have ridiculous bounties? Like Emperors, for example, have a bare minimum bounty usually of about 3 billion and stuff. This cross-guild organization put bounties on Marines so the Marines would have to look over their shoulder. So one could say this is how you can kind of understand how strong certain Marines are. So now, even though these are two different organizations, the government and the cross-guild are not linked, their bounty system seems to be similar to power levels a little bit because Garp's bounty was 3 billion berries, while a Yonko is usually at least 3 billion or some higher because they have crews and stuff. So you can kind of get an idea of how strong somebody's power level as a Marine based on the bounty. You already know I'm going to use Koby for this. This pretty much proves that Koby may be a captain, but there's a good chance he might be above captain level. He might be an anomaly, like how Garp is a vice admiral, but he's admiral level. He might be a captain, but actually stronger than captain level, if that makes sense to you, right? Koby's bounty as a Marine kind of shows how strong he is because of his reputation of being a hero. It's 500 million. And they even straight up state this is not how a captain usually is. Usually a captain is a single star. So he's like an anomaly type captain. I just want to give you an idea of beings that have a 500 million bounty look like. This superhuman marksman from the Wano arc is a great example of this. A being that can use Haki, your inner will, to manifest through your fists to increase your attacks and stuff. Remember this lineup of powerful warriors to take on Kaido? This being was one of them. Obviously not on Kaido's level, but like with teamwork, they can work together to help maybe get little baby paper cuts on Kaido as a team to maybe do some little damage, letting you know how top tier beings this strong are. This being's bounty is above 500 million, but not 600 million, so it's between 500 and 600 million. You got beings like Who's Who that was scuffling with Jinbei, who has a bounty around the 500 million range. As a pirate, of course. Once again, these are beings within the 500 mil range, like Koby. And somebody we know is ridiculously strong, like Don Chinjiao, who clashed with Luffy in Haki and punches and stuff, who had a bounty of 500 million. We've seen Luffy overpower beings like this. But don't get it twisted. Even while old and weakened from his younger days, Don Chinjiao could still do crazy stuff. Like when Pika was literally the size of a mountain, Don Chinjiao's right here. And Pika was attacking, and he was able to crumble up mountain-sized hands or arms. And this guy had a 500 million bounty, so it kind of gives you the ballpark of where the writers want Koby at in power level. And he's a being in his prime that can do stuff like this. Can easily split mountains and stuff. Stuff like this is a bit vague, but are the writers implying, or is Oda implying that Koby could be around the old Don Chinjo out of his prime level? Because we know Koby has hockey and stuff. He can imbue his fist to make his strikes harder and stuff. So that kind of what makes sense. He's considered way more of a threat than your average captain level being worth 500 million when the average is only 1/5 that. I mean, they kind of put an emperor's bounty and an admiral's bounty within the same ballpark, depending on which emperor we're talking about. So yeah, Koby's still nowhere near somebody like Garp, his mentor, of course. This is where Koby really proves how strong he is. There was this being that literally ate the island fruit. A being can literally become one with an island, control island-sized structures, and just be the literal island itself. Like, I'm talking legitly, a literal island is alive. Like, the character confused with the island itself is alive, and he can fight as an island. So his limbs are ridiculously huge if he's literally an island. And apparently Koby's been hiding his true strength all this time. I find it cool that he has moves similar to his mentor, freaking Garp. Like how Garp did this super punch and blew away a city. Koby has a similar technique, not as strong, obviously, but you see in this occasion he jumps up, and this giant hand from the island itself that was about to crush the ship, this pretty much revealed that Koby can use hockey and does a technique similar to Garp to blow a mountain-sized structure away with his raw punching power right down the middle, affecting this island-sized entity called Honesty Impact. Instead of Galaxy Impact, it's Honesty Impact. Everybody was shocked. It's not my opinion when I say the term mountain. It was literally stated that arm was as big as a mountain. He blew it to smithereens, proving that Koby has strikes that can tremble mountains themselves or delete one. If you would have told me a year ago that Koby's punches would end up splitting mountains, I wouldn't have believed you. Yes, Koby's this strong now, thanks to his super strength, training, and hockey, and things like that, and can blow from a long distance, like how Garp can. I think Koby working under Garp is paying off. Due to his rank in the Marines, do you think he's stronger than all the other captains? Like, do you think he's stronger than Tashigi? Stuff like this is considered superhuman. This is stuff Koby should be able to do. He's in the same rank. Like, for example, we know Tashigi is no match for a Vice Admiral level being like Virgo, for example. Vice Admiral rank is pretty high compared to Captain, but I don't want to assume Koby's that high. I mean, he's above your average Captain. Maybe he can fight like Hina or something, or Commodores. I don't want to jump up here too fast. You know how Luffy, the main character that inspired him in the first place, got like a time skip? Do you think there's a good chance Koby currently could take on a 2 years ago Luffy? Because, this Luffy didn't even have hockey. This current Koby does. It just kind of adds up. Not to mention he's above your average captain when it comes to strength. Do you think current Koby could take on current old and weakened Don Chinjo, who used to be a beast back in the day, but is weakened nowadays? You think he can take him on? But what do you guys think? I want to hear you guys' thoughts below. How strong do you think Koby is? I mean, you got to remember he has to eventually become top tier because his dream is apparently to be a Navy Admiral, which is at the top of the food chain. And you know how One Piece is with dreams? He's going to have to eventually achieve that. So this is nowhere near his limit, and he's already doing stuff like this that I showed in this video. I mean, because Garp, his mentor, is an Admiral level being. Respect Koby. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.